Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin, check. You already know. Let's go. Welcome to Gold and Blue today, everybody. This is a college football channel. So if you like college football, hit the like and subscribe button. It's that simple. Also, send gear to represent your team and be a part of my background forever. All you have to do is send it to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. And don't forget to check out our Patreon page. We have a lot of great perks over there. The perk that people seem to enjoy the most, of course, is the score prediction contest where we award $20 every single week to whoever gets closest to the actual score of the game that I pick. We also did a championship week. I will award $25 to that winner. And right now is the best time to join Patreon because we are going to do the bowl prediction contest. First place prize will win $50. Second place prize is an autographed gold and blue flat bill hat. And the third place prize is a shout out. And the more Patreons we get, the higher we can bump up the prize. So if we get up to $300 worth of Patreon pledges, we will bump up the prize to $75. If we get up to $400 worth of Patreon pledges, we'll bump the prize up to $100 and so on and so forth. So there's even an incentive for current Patreon members to encourage other people to join Patreon. That way the prize goes even higher. I'll leave the link to the Patreon page in the description of this video. A Purdue legend returns to his old stomping grounds. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Drew Brees. He has been hired as the interim assistant coach for Purdue, helping them prep for the Citrus Bowl because they will be playing LSU in the Citrus Bowl. Both Purdue and LSU were the runner-up in their respective conferences. Purdue finished the regular season 8-4, 8-5 overall, and LSU finished the regular season 9-3, 9-4 overall. So that's probably going to be a pretty good matchup, and now you have a big-time name involved on the Purdue side of things. I think this is a very interesting move. Now, the coaching carousel was crazy in the offseason, and it affected Purdue eventually. They were on down the line. It started when Wisconsin fired Paul Chryst. Needed to be done, but a lot of people were wondering, well, I thought he was a good coach. I do think that Paul Chryst is a good coach, but I think he was getting a little stale at Wisconsin, so it was time for them to move on from Paul Chryst. I think he'll grab a head coaching job somewhere else. In fact, I've said West Virginia should be looking at Paul Chryst if they do eventually fire Neil Brown. So Wisconsin fires Paul Chryst. Then Wisconsin hires Luke Fickell from Cincinnati. That's probably the best hire they could have went out and got. Luke Fickell was highly sought after. Probably the #1 coach out of the group of 5 conferences when it comes to coaching search. So they hit a home run with Luke Fickell. So then Cincinnati needed to hire a coach. And they hired Scott Satterfield from Louisville. Louisville was looking for reasons to fire Scott Satterfield. That was a terrible hire, Cincinnati. I'm sorry. That was not a good hire. There were plenty of names out there that were better and that were more attainable than Scott Satterfield. This was a stupid hire. But Louisville's like, whew, thank you, Cincinnati. Now we don't have to worry about his buyout. So then Louisville is looking for a new head coach, right? They hired Jeff Brom from Purdue. This is where Purdue gets in the middle of things. And this is a good hire by Louisville. I think Jeff Brom is going to do a great job at Louisville, just like he did at Purdue. But that leaves Purdue without a head coach. And they go out and hire Illinois defensive coordinator Ryan Walters as their new head coach. That's a pretty good hire. Illinois just had the #1 defense in the entire nation. Think about that. Illinois had the #1 defense in the entire nation, so I think that's a pretty good hire for Purdue. But I'm guessing that Ryan Walters will be coaching his last game for Illinois in their bowl game, so they need an interim head coach. That's why they hired Brian Brom as their interim head coach for this Citrus Bowl. Brian Brom has been a part of the coaching staff for a long time. Well, not a long time, but enough time to where he knows what's going on at Purdue, and he's familiar with the players. So that was a pretty good move by Purdue. But now Purdue goes out and gets Drew Brees as an interim assistant head coach. Now, on top of that, Drew Brees will be allowed to recruit because of an NCAA waiver. So I don't know if the interim is going to stick or if they'll hire him full on as an assistant coach. I'm sure he would be thrilled with that title. But because of an NCAA waiver, he will be able to recruit. So maybe this is a long-term thing. Drew Brees will be a part of the team prep for the Citrus Bowl versus LSU. And I do think that's going to be a pretty good bowl. I think both of these teams overperformed, especially LSU. I mean, they started off the season by losing to Florida State off a blocked point after. Then they go on to beat beat Alabama and have a pretty good year. So I think the Citrus Bowl is going to be a pretty good bowl, and Drew Brees will be a part of the prepping for the Citrus Bowl. On top of that, Drew Brees is the chairman of the board for Purdue's main NIL collective, but because of an NCAA issue, he might have to step down from that position. So there is a little bit of contradiction going on there as far as if he wants to remain the chairman of Purdue's largest NIL, or if he wants to be an assistant head coach to Purdue. We'll see how that works out. Now, as far as his playing career, yeah, Drew Brees has had an amazing playing career. First off, at Purdue, 4 years at Purdue, he threw 1,026 for 1,678. That is a completion percentage of 61.1%, 90 touchdowns, and 45 interceptions. Now, his NFL stats are even more amazing. He's thrown 6,867 for 10,161. That's number one in actual completions. That's a percentage of 67.6%. That's number one in percentage. He's thrown for 77,416 yards. That's number one in yards. 547 touchdowns. That's number one in touchdowns. And a passer rating of 98.4. That's third in passer rating. So yes, he definitely had an amazing career in the NFL. So now he's going to be an assistant coach for Purdue. Whether he stays as interim or if they slap it on as a permanent position, that remains to be seen. But I think Drew Brees as an assistant coach, maybe eventually the head coach of Purdue, is a genius move, if not for anything else, to draw in recruits and to make some money. Listen, we live in the day and age of the NIL. So the name of the game is to make money for your university and to attract the biggest names possible. One of the best ways you can do that is go out and get a big name. Not only can Purdue go out and get a big name, but they can go out and get a big name that's attached to the university, and that's Drew Brees. And I think Colorado is doing the same thing. Not getting a player that's attached to Colorado, but getting a former player, a high-profile player, who's actually already had success as a head coach at Jackson State. I'm talking about Deion Sanders. Colorado hit a home run hire with Deion Sanders. I do think he will have success at Colorado. In fact, over 200 players, either recruits or in the transfer portal, have already reached out to Colorado, and that was within the first 12 hours. Who knows what that number is now? So Colorado's value has gone through the roof. And a lot of people think that Colorado made that move based on conference realignment. They want to be more attractive to either the Big 12, maybe even the Big 10. You never know. Best way to do that, go out and get a high-profile coach / player in Deion Sanders, and Colorado did just that. Now, Deion Sanders will have his work cut out because Colorado was absolutely horrible last year. Not just bad, but one of the worst teams I've ever seen in my entire life. So Colorado made a great move with Deion Sanders, and I also think that this is a pretty good move for Purdue. I think they will be able to draw in a lot of money. Remember, even if he has to step down as the chairman of the board of Purdue's main NIL collective, he still has that experience. He still knows how to generate money. So he will be able to generate money for Purdue and attract those big name players, and Purdue can have success on the football field and make money, and the process repeats itself. So I think this is a pretty good move. We'll see if Purdue slaps the permanent sticker on Purdue as far as an assistant coach, maybe eventually head coach, actual head coach of Purdue. He will be a part of the team prepping for the Citrus Bowl. I don't know if he'll be on the sidelines or if he'll be in the booth. So we might be seeing Drew Brees once again on the sidelines at Purdue. That's going to be a pretty cool sight to see Drew Brees on Purdue's sideline once again. So y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you think about Purdue hiring former quarterback Drew Brees as an assistant coach, interim assistant coach, to help prep for the Citrus Bowl? Do you think he'll be a permanent assistant coach in the future for Purdue? That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.